The Pad command is normally located in the Home tab Feature Group, More, Design Feature Gallery, but is hid by default. I'll use the Command Finder. This command uses a legacy method, and the first dialog that displays is the type. The rectangular type is not recommended as it is a better practice to extrude a sketch. The general type, however, is still useful. I'll click that. The legacy style dialog has the selection steps at the top as buttons, and the area just below them will change to display the pertinent options. Many of these steps are optional and you'll likely not need them. The first selection step, Placement Face, is selected while the next one highlights in a soft blue color. The placement face for a general pad can be a freeform face, which will be used to define the top face of the pad. This is what makes this feature powerful. I'll pick the top face of the solid. A vector displays for the normal of the face, but at the moment it is simply for reference. Be aware that the selection step has not auto-progressed. I'll pick it now. This is the placement outline, which is the shape of the pad. Before making a selection, it is best to set the options for this step. That is this area of the dialog. A taper angle can be defined from the top outline. I'll enter 30. And this is relative to the face normals by default. You can also define a direction vector the taper is measured from. I'll leave it set to face normals. I'm going to use this sketch here, but notice the curve rule drop-down defaulted to single curve. I'll set it to connected curves and pick the curves of the sketch. The next selection step is the top face. This is the top face of the pad. This defines how to form the top face. Offset is offset from the placement face, and translation makes another selection step available to define a translation vector. Define a distance to offset from the placement face in order to define the top face of the pad. I'll enter 1.5. Let's discuss some of the other selection steps. Top outline is optional and can be used to define the top of the pad. This can be a different profile than the placement outline I selected, which defines the base of the pad. If you skip this step, as I'll do, the placement outline is used for both. The target body selection step allows you to define the body to attach the pad to. Since there is only one solid body in this model, this step is not necessary. The placement outline projection vector defines how the placement outline curves are projected onto the placement face. The default of normal to plane curves is fine for this example. If you selected a top outline, this selection step would be available, which is the top outline projection vector. In addition to defining the projection vector, there is an option to define how to align the outline profiles. There are also two more additional selection steps that would be available when you select two outlines and set the option to align the profiles by points. These steps would then be used to define the alignment points, which is really only necessary if the profiles differed in shape and number of curves. I'm ready to complete this example. There are 3 more parameters to define. The placement radius creates a blend at the base of the pad and the top radius at the top of the pad. I'll enter 0.5 for both. Corner radius is not necessary as it is already designed in the sketch profile. Make sure Attach Pad is active to attach it to the solid and click OK to create the feature. The pad dialog remains displayed. Simply click Cancel to close it.